This is Nigeria, a country of 181.5 million people, 250 ethnic groups, the most populous nation in Africa. Home to 1 in every 4 black person in the world. Nigeria is a democratic country, rated as the largest economy in Africa. Nigeria has an impressive GDP growth rate with a labor force of 55.8 million and is projected to become the 3rd most populous country in the world by 2050 from its current position of 8th. It presents a large market of consumers as the biggest economy in Africa 2014 with a GDP growth of $568.5 billion, a per capita of $2,800 in 2013, projected to become the first $1 trillion economy in Africa by 2030. Between 2007 and 2015, Nigeria's GDP growth rate averaged 7% but was later slowed down by the drop in global commodity prices. Nigeria has a high propensity to consume with a fast-growing middle class and youthful population and has had 16 years of unbroken democracy, which included a peaceful transition of power to the opposition party in 2015. Its market-driven economic policies make it the highest recipient of foreign direct investment in Africa, with FDI flows of $44.5 billion between 2009 and 2015. Nigeria is a major trading partner with the Western world and Asia, with many global firms serving the West African market of 340 million people from their head office in Nigeria. Because of abundance of natural resources, conducive market conditions, competitive incentives, and a robust private sector. Nigeria's major export products are crude oil, gas, cocoa butter, rubber with large reservoir of natural resources like gold, limestone, iron ore, lead, and a vast arable land for food productions for crops like rice, wheat, cassava, sugar, cocoa, oil palm, cotton, sorghum, sesame, cashew, livestock and fish with a market potential of over $6 million. The country offers a free market economy which allows 100% foreign ownership of investments with 100% profit reparation, irrespective of nationality. It also has a robust private sector supported by a well-developed financial sector with 22 deposit banks, 5 discount houses, over 700 microfinance banks, 108 finance companies, 101 mortgage banks, developed finance institutions. Nigeria is an investor's hub and guarantees right to arbitration through the international sector for settlement of investment disputes, with a stable economy growing with an average of 6.78% between 2007 to 2015. Nigeria's economy remains stable in spite of the decline in crude oil prices as China's largest trading partner after South Africa, with $2.3 billion in 2005 to $18 billion in 2014. There are lots of investment opportunities in all sectors of the Nigeria economy, like automotive, power, business processing outsourcing, ICT, packaging, aircraft maintenance, repair and overhaul. The question is, why Nigeria? There are few countries that offer such a large captive market, abundance of natural resources, cheap workforce that is dynamic and well-educated, investor-friendly government policies, and strategically located to serve the African market with access to the rest of the world. Nigeria government supports programs that promote a liberal investment climate through welcoming policies, sophisticated legal base, and institutional support. The new administration is also committed to improving investment climates with a goal of achieving a sub-100 ranking by introducing new reforms to improve the ease of doing business, trading across borders, and a sincere tax regime with tax holiday incentives plus aftercare services. The administration has set up a Presidential Enabling Business Environment Committee to provide conducive climate for investment in the country. As a follow-up to government to improve power, telecommunication, good road network, transportation, and agriculture, with abundant solid mineral resources for internal sourcing of raw materials. With a GSM subscriber profile of 120 million people, the communication industry in Nigeria makes investment attractive in the country. President Buhari's zero-tolerance policy towards corruption and the restoration of security to parts of the country are guarantees of investment in any part of the country. The Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission (NIPC) has the authority to resolve all investor requirements from arrival in Nigeria to as much as ensuring that investors' children are settled in schools. Global corporations that have already invested in Nigeria have continued to be a testimony on the opportunities that abound in the country. Welcome to Nigeria, the highest return for investment nation in the world, the land of abundant investment opportunities.
As most of you are aware, we're a non-registered organization that has been working. So we're networkers, we're builders. So our role as Ncbn is to work together and to help to bridge the gap between Nigeria and Canada. So we have members who have the interest of Nigeria at heart, at the same time the interest of Canada. So we create opportunities for folks. We link folks who want to go to Nigeria to do business, as well as folks that want to come here to also do business. So this is one of the series that we're going to be doing to actually start having conversation around how do we do business legally in Nigeria at the same time here. And so that's Ncbn. For those of you who might be interested in joining, we have our website, which is www.ncbn.com. So feel free, be part of the paradigm shift. So we're going to have a lot of series of programs to come as we go on. So that's a brief about Ncbn. And so now we're going to call on our host for today's program in person of Patricia Bauer.
Patricia Bibi Amawa has served as president of Planet Africa Group, the executive vice president of Afro Global Television and Silver Trust Media, the largest Black-owned media organization in Canada. She is also the host of the Planet Africa show on Omni TV. She has directed and produced over 15 television programs, including The Golden Button and Standing Ovation. Patricia is the associate publisher of Excellence, Envision, and Destiny magazines. In 2008, Silver Trust Media introduced the Discover magazine series, which has since released over 20 titles and editions in various countries. Listed in the Who's Who in Black Canada, she is a recipient of the York Regional Police Civic Leadership Award, the Martin Luther King Dreamkeeper Award, and a Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal. The mother of four is the co-founder of the Crossover Mentorship Program, a youth empowerment initiative. Patricia was spotlighted as Woman of the Week in Women's Post and also featured on CNN International in a half-hour special with her husband Moses. In March 2016, the duo launched Afro Global Television, a 24-hour television channel that is on Rogers Cable, Bell 5, Eastlink, and TELUS across Canada. In 2018, Patricia and Moses co-authored the 150 Extraordinary Canadians Legacy book with a foreword by the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau.
So please join me in welcoming our host, Patricia Bauer, who's going to take it from here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I love to welcome you all to this wonderful virtual conference on, Nigeria and Canada. We're going to be discussing legal perspectives of doing business in Nigeria and Canada. I know that Mrs. Williams is supposed to introduce the Nigerian High Commissioner, but she's not, able to join us at the moment. I think, Wale, you need to unmute her. I see she sent a message to the chat asking for you to unmute her and put on her video. So at this moment, I would like to thank everyone that has joined us. And first, we're going to call on our own Nigerian High Commissioner to Canada, His Excellency Adeyinka Shekun, to say a few words as we begin. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Good to see you as always. And I trust my brother Moses is doing well.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, thank you. His Worship, Mayor Patrick Brown, the Mayor of Brampton, I believe maybe Councillor Williams is representing him. Honorable Ramesh Sanga, Member of Parliament for Brampton Central. Mr. Tariq Khan, my good friend, Director General of West and Central Africa Global Affairs Canada. Mr. Barrister Shafiu Adamu Yauri, Registrar of Trademarks, Trademark Registry of Nigeria. Mr. First Baba Issa, Mr. Benjamin Crank, Barrister Kumi Reju, Mr. Samson Arega, my brother from Ethiopian Airways, and our own King Wale Adesanya, the chairman of Ncbn, fellow participants. It gives me great pleasure to offer a few remarks at the 2020 National Diaspora Day in Canada. Setting aside the day to recognize Nigerians abroad, Nigerians in the diaspora, is a tacit acknowledgement of their importance. Nigerians abroad globally account for $25 billion worth of inflows that come into the country on an annual basis, which serves as a source of funding for various things in the economy. And Nigerians abroad also have distinguished themselves in various fields of endeavors, making valuable contributions towards the progress of the countries where they're staying. I know that we have very strong communities of medical doctors in different parts of the world, such as the US, the UK, South Africa, and Saudi Arabia. I even went to a city or a town in southern Alberta called Medicine Hat, and I found Nigerians practicing medicine there, believe it or not. So I know that we make contributions towards the well-being and the progress of the communities where we find ourselves. I've said many times before that there's only one High Commissioner of Nigeria to Canada, but there are many ambassadors. And the ambassadors are the Nigerians that on a day-to-day basis distinguish themselves in fields of endeavor and make the country proud. So I'm very, very proud and honored to represent Nigerians in Canada, to be the High Commissioner. I see people of integrity and professionalism who are on a day-to-day basis doing what they need to do to forge ahead. I'd like to acknowledge the consistency of the Nigeria and Canadian business network in terms of building a viable and sustainable bridge between Nigeria and Canada. I see a meeting of minds and alignment of purpose, because what they're trying to do is what we're trying to do. And I guess that accounts for why King Wale and I are such great pals. We have common objectives, and our efforts serve to reinforce one another. I've had the pleasure of attending a number of their programs, and I find their efforts to be very, very commendable. The primary focus of the Nigerian High Commission in Ottawa is to deepen commercial ties between Canada and Nigeria. I've said many times, development aid is useful, but a country gets lifted out of poverty and becomes more prosperous when it's able to engage in trade on a mutually beneficial basis. So trade and investment is one of the key motivating factors in terms of our relationship between Nigeria and Canada. In pursuit of this objective, the Nigerian High Commission collaborated with the Nigeria-Canada Trade and Investment Group to host two investment summits. One was in November 2018, a week after the Governor General of Canada visited Nigeria, and the other one was in November 2019, a follow-up summit. And both of these summits were well attended. The one in 2019 was particularly good because we had the presence of my friend, Mr. Tariq Khan, the DG of West and Central Africa from Global Affairs. And representatives came from the city of Brampton to represent the mayor at that event. And so we've been working hard to deepen commercial ties. In October 2019, we collaborated with leadership and governance in Toronto to host the Canada-Nigeria Business and Investment Summit in October 2019, which was also well represented, and another chance to just begin to preach the gospel of collaboration between Canada and Nigeria in the area of business. We'll continue to collaborate with different groups to work towards deepening commercial ties between the two countries. We believe that that's the way to go. Many people have raised the issue as to whether COVID-19 is going to make it possible for Nigeria to attract Canadian investment or vice versa, or whether this COVID-19 that has come signals the end of the world, as it were. I believe that a time of crisis, a time of challenge, brings about fresh opportunities for those who are discerning. So in the midst of all the stress, all the trouble that this pandemic has brought upon the world, there will be opportunities for collaboration between our two countries in certain areas of business. I know that Nigeria is at a point whereby it welcomes foreign investment. It always has things that would yet serve to increase employment and make people more prosperous. And Canadian businesses may be at this point looking for fresh markets to do business. And there's certain areas where I've always seen as chances for the two countries to collaborate: the area of agribusiness, agriculture, agribusiness, the area of mining, the area of power, creative industries are areas in which Nigeria has a story to tell. In terms of availability of arable land, we're number 9 in the entire world in terms of arable land for agricultural purposes. We have 44 solid minerals available in commercial quantities, and they're all high-grade minerals. The country ranks number 8 in terms of internet penetration. And so technology in Nigeria is at a stage of explosion. Visa has invested $400 million in a company called InterSwitch. The creative industry is an area where we're making waves. Nigeria is number 3 in the world in terms of the movie business. You've heard of the expressions, there's Hollywood, Bollywood, and Nollywood, So Nigeria has done very well in terms of the movie business. So there are all kinds of opportunities, and I won't go into too much detail about that, but that information is readily available. And so the key thing is that there's basis for collaboration between the two countries. And we're looking at areas where Canada has a story to tell and where Nigeria has opportunities. Moving away from the business area and talking a bit about what we call citizen diplomacy. By the grace of God, we were able to evacuate 204 Nigerians who have been stranded in Canada for some time on account of the closure of airspace brought on by the global pandemic, COVID-19. This entailed moving people from Calgary and Toronto to Lagos and Abuja. And it took place last weekend, a week ago today. We were able to get that done. And people are now reunited with their families. And we're quite happy that could happen. The next day, the same aircraft, a Euro-Atlantic aircraft, brought 186 Nigerian Canadians back to Canada, who are also able to be reunited with their families. And so the welfare and concern and well-being of Nigerians is paramount to us as we go about doing what we've come to do in this country. Nigeria, the High Commission is also here to attend to immigration and consular needs of Nigerians in Canada. And I know the whole issue of passport renewal has been a major area of challenge. In the wake of COVID-19, we were constrained to essentially shut down operations because that was what the public health guidelines dictated. But we've been able to find a way to attend to the needs of people who have pressing concerns. For instance, people who run the risk of being out of status. If they send us an email, we find a way of attending to them, meeting those needs in a discreet and disciplined way, taking cognizance of physical distancing guidelines and crowd control. So it is strictly by appointment that we'll attend to people whose needs are very pressing and who have concerns for wanting to renew their passports, because we have to be able to meet those needs. We don't want people to be out of status. That creates another problem altogether. So based upon the urgency of people's needs and concerns, we will find a way of attending to them, but it's strictly by invitation and strictly by appointment. So this practice of people showing up at the High Commission and sitting on the doorsteps like debt collectors, thinking that if they stay there long enough, they might be attended to, is not best practice. We need to act on the basis of appointments, and we will try and meet those needs. We also want to point out that because airspace is closed, our ability to bring in new passport booklets is constrained. And as a result, we need to manage what we have and issue passports to those whose concerns are most pressing. So we just thought that we'd use this chance to point that out. If you go to our website, you'll find more about that information. I'd like to point out that this year, Nigeria turns 60. We had all manner of expectations about having some celebrations in different parts of the country, being able to get out and meet the people, which is what I love to do, celebrating those who have achieved things of significance and made the country proud. But the way things are looking now, we're going to have to reorientate our thinking and think of ways of celebrating our anniversary and celebrating those who have done well without having any large social gatherings. And I believe that we'll be able to do that. So with these few issues which I've had the chance to say, I'd like to say I'm delighted to be here today. I celebrate Nigerians in diaspora, especially those in Canada. And I believe that today's program is going to be a great program. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Those were really great words. Our next speaker is the Director General of West and Central Africa at Global Affairs Canada. His areas of interest are in international development and international relations issues. His focus and objective is to deepen his experience and leadership competencies in these areas. He's a graduate of English from the University of Toronto and holds a master's degree in rural planning and development from Guelph University. It is my pleasure to welcome Tariq Khan, Director General of West and Central Africa at Global Affairs Canada.
Good afternoon, bonjour tout le monde. Thanks so much for the introduction, Patricia. And thank you for inviting me to this event, Kingwale Adesanya, Your Excellency High Commissioner Adinka Shekun, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erawa, members of the diaspora community, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to join you today from Ottawa to celebrate Nigeria's National Diaspora Day. And I want to follow on the words of His Excellency, the High Commissioner, in congratulating the High Commission, His Excellency, and his team for successfully supporting the repatriation of Nigerian citizens recently on a flight back to Nigeria from Calgary and Toronto. I say that because in the era of COVID, supporting mobility of people and goods and services, as we know, is extremely challenging. And just being able to accomplish that kind of feat with all of the restrictions that we have around the world is a challenge and a true testament to the dedication to supporting the Nigerian people. And we were also able to fortunately support a couple of flights of that order as well for Canadian citizens and permanent residents who were in Nigeria, and of course, many of whom are members of the diaspora community here in the country. I would certainly like to, on this special occasion, acknowledge the key role of Nigeria in terms of Canada's trade diversification agenda in Africa. As the DG of West and Central Africa at Global Affairs, I'm responsible for our bilateral relations with Nigeria, and as such, I would like to highlight our dynamic commercial and people-to-people ties. In 2019, Nigeria was Canada's second largest merchandise trade partner in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria is also the largest source of foreign investment from Africa into Canada, with investments of approximately $934 million in 2018. Nigeria represents an attractive market for Canadian goods and services, and it is the third largest export market in Africa for Canada. Importantly, in 2019, Nigeria was also ranked as one of the top 10 countries of origin for foreign students in Canada. And since 2016, and I believe the figure is the same there on this year, there are over 11,000 students from Nigeria who are studying here with study permits. The number is increasing, of course, and they join a dynamic and vibrant Nigerian diaspora in this country, contributing to strengthening the ties between our two countries. And they are also laying an important foundation for future trade and investment between our two countries. As we all know, the Nigerian diaspora is very important to both the Nigerian and the Canadian economy. Members of the diaspora contribute significantly to Canada's rich diversity and economic vitality, and they are key in helping the Canadian government understand other countries, particularly other countries and other markets in Africa. I myself am from a diaspora community, so I understand how important diaspora communities are, and how important it is for them to be visible and persistent and engaging with decision makers and governments across the country and at all levels. To you, members of the diaspora, you have a broad network of contacts, both in Canada and in Nigeria, that can support efforts to establish commercial ties and achieve success. Since beginning my current role at Global Affairs Canada, I have had the opportunity to visit Nigeria. I had the pleasure to participate, as the High Commissioner mentioned, in the Nigeria-Canada Investment Summit in November last year in Abuja. And I've seen firsthand that Nigeria holds plenty of untapped opportunities for Canadian companies. Nigeria's young, dynamic, and entrepreneurial population means that there is a natural proclivity towards new innovative solutions, and that's clearly visible in the country's booming tech industry and large ecosystem of startups. Despite the uncertainty created by the global pandemic and the concomitant temporary reduction of staff in the region, our embassy staff, Canada's Trade Commissioner Service, or TCF, is still very active in the market and ready to facilitate increased trade with Nigeria in providing Canadian businesses and educational institutions with on-the-ground intelligence, connections to vetted contacts, access to partnership opportunities, practical market advice, and assistance in resolving market access problems. If you're a Canadian business and you want to avail yourself of these services, I encourage you to contact our Trade Commissioner Service, especially if your line of business is in the following sectors: education, oil and gas, information and communication technologies, ICTs, clean tech, and the creative industries. These are Canada's sectors of focus in Nigeria. For Nigeria-based companies with specific opportunities looking to acquire products or contract services from Canadian companies, please do contact us as well at Canada's Deputy High Commission in Lagos. We will find our contact information at the bottom of the TCS's website main page at www.tradecommissioner.gc.ca, or by contacting the organizers of today with whom we've left our contact information. Through the recent launch of our trade diversification strategy, Canada has committed to investing $1.1 billion to help Canadian companies access new markets around the world. Within this policy, I see new attention being paid to non-traditional markets for Canadian companies, and this includes Africa. We know that Canadian companies have had an established presence in the mining sector. We've heard from His Excellency of the interest in expanding more engagement in the agricultural sector, the services sector, and I want to say a couple of words as well about other sectors such as education and the creative industries. I had a chance while in Lagos to see a recent collaboration, a partnership between Maple Canadian College in Lagos and the Rosedale Academy in Canada, in Toronto, which is introducing the Ontario Secondary School Diploma Curriculum, and in doing so, helping to provide Canadian standard education to interested students in Nigeria. This then paves the way for those students to do further tertiary education in Canada and become part of our engaging student diaspora, and ultimately potentially permanent residents and immigrants to Canada. By allowing students to study Canadian content in Nigeria, we pave the way for more success story and more collaboration. So I encourage you to think of tertiary education, particularly as an important area where Canada is seeking to expand. That means market opportunities for our Canadian universities and our community colleges who are recruiting from countries such as Nigeria, and then ensuring that Nigerian entrepreneurs who are interested in the educational field can collaborate with those organizations. The creative industry sector is also a sector of immense potential. We have recently witnessed increased Nigeria-Canada collaboration, especially in the fields of animation and digital creativity. We're proud of the work that has led to the Vancouver Film School working to strengthen the capacity of local animation industry professionals and talented young Nigerians. If you want to hear more about that success story, again, please do contact us. And last year, Canada's Deputy High Commission in Lagos rolled out a new program of virtual seminars to connect Canadian colleges and Nigerian companies to discuss their training needs and address the gaps identified in the technical vocational skills area. Although these seminars focus specifically on tech voc in the oil and gas and renewable energy sectors, where Canada's colleges, community colleges, of course, and institutes are quite specialized, Our colleges and institutes are also eager to replicate these successes by delivering training to equip a new generation of Nigerians to be competitive in the global economy and in other sectors. I'm convinced that these types of collaboration, in conjunction with our strong economic and people-to ties that we see through the diaspora and forged by the diaspora, will continue to flourish and lay the foundations for further mutually beneficial partnerships in which members of the diaspora play a prominent role. I wish you a very happy Nigerian National Day, National Diaspora Day. I hope you have a chance to celebrate today with family and friends. It's been such a pleasure to be with you here today and to be with Nigerian Canadians. Thank you. Merci.
For the insightful words. Now we're going to move on to the next speaker, who is one of the supporters and sponsors of Ncbn. He's the country manager for Ethiopian Airlines in Canada, the only airline that flies direct from Canada to Africa. He has demonstrated leadership with effective and efficient management in all aspects of the airline's operations. Arega progressed through corporate leadership in active roles like passenger sales at Addis Ababa, then as country manager in Kuwait, before assuming his current role as country manager in Canada. Now, he has actually been instrumental in making sure that much needed, medical equipment is transported to Canada and beyond. And he has also facilitated the reconnection of families who were stranded in different parts of the world back, to their countries. It is my pleasure to introduce Samson Arega, but before he comes on, I will just share a short video. Okay, awesome. Now we just call on the country manager for Ethiopian Airlines in Canada, Samson Arega.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for the generous introduction. His Excellency, High Commissioner of Nigeria to Canada, all excellencies and dignitaries who are observed today on this interesting webinar. I can tell you that I am feeling very warm to be with you today with my brothers from Nigeria and Canada, and to celebrate the Nigerian Diaspora Day with you today. Before just going to my presentation, I would like to share with you some which happened yesterday. So this past couple of days, we were very busy organizing a repatriation charter flight for Canadian nationals who are originally from Ghana. and wants to return home with their community association heads in Canada. So I happened to meet so many people from the community heads, and one of their community leaders who also owns a travel office close to the area where I live in Canada. So yesterday evening, without telling him, I went to his place and just walked into his office just like a customer. And there were a couple of people inside the office looking to purchase an air ticket to Nigeria. Without introducing my identity and my position, I just asked them which airline they are looking for to take for their trips. First, they have not been informed that Nigeria airspace closure has been extended until October. And second, they were discussing about transiting via Europe and Middle East. I asked them if they know about Ethiopian Airlines. Still, I didn't tell them that I represent the airline in Canada. I was just asking them like a stranger who is looking to purchase a ticket. Two of them told me that they know about Ethiopian Airlines, and they said they are frequent travelers of Ethiopian Airlines. And then our conversation continues. I continued asking if they know about the service of Ethiopian Airlines and that it is a pride of Africa and that it showed to the world that Africans can indeed run a successful aviation company on the continent. I went on telling them all the successes that is recorded and that it represents the fine examples of the Black humanity on the planet. Finally, I asked them the following questions. If you purchase a ticket with a Middle Eastern carrier, where do you think the money goes? They replied and said, to the Middle East. I continued asking. If you purchase a ticket on European carriers, where does the dollar goes? They said to Europe. Then I finally asked them, if you choose to take Ethiopian Airlines or any other African carrier, considering Ethiopian Airlines has many subsidiaries and equity aviation companies in various African countries that help create jobs for Africans and help the African economy, where the dollar goes? They said to Africa. And I explained how their tiny ticket cost contribute to a bigger picture and cause by saying if you purchase a ticket on Ethiopian Airlines, you help one African guy to get a job. You help one African farmer to export his produce to better markets where he can get better value for his efforts. You create value in your homeland and contribute to the well-being of marginalized communities across the continent. They were so impressed and I was so surprised that they just returned their face to the owner of the travel agency and told him that they don't want to see any other airline but only Ethiopian Airlines. Some of them even have changed their mind from waiting for the Nigerian airspace to open, but instead to purchase a ticket to go to Benin and cross border from Benin. So Nigeria has always been our strategic market, and it will in fact continue to be our strategic market. Nigerian passengers, especially speaking of our Nigerian passengers, they consider Ethiopian Airlines as their own airline. I sometimes surprised when I receive comments and feedbacks from our Nigerian customers. They consider the airline as their own, and even the feedbacks that they are giving on board to our crews and to our operating crews, if at all they see some defects, they would say that this is my airline. You cannot do this kind of things on my airline. So Nigeria, when we speak, not only myself, but the entire Ethiopian Airlines, when we think of Nigerian market, and when we think of the sense of belongingness that we receive from the Nigerian community, I can tell you, it feels so warm. So I would like to just emphasize on some success stories or on some contributions that Ethiopian Airlines have made, especially during this very challenging time. As you know, as friction frustrates motion, this COVID have honed the entire aviation industry. And of course, Ethiopian Airlines is not an exception. And we have, as we speak, we have lost close to $1 billion USD. The entire aviation industry in the continent has been projected to lose close to 5 billion. So being an African and being the biggest airline in the continent, we have lost close to 20% of the projected loss because of this COVID and because of the plunge of passenger demand. But we didn't just sit and continue to lose the revenue, because of this COVID crisis. We took the opportunity that have been created by this global pandemic, especially in the supply chain. Ethiopian Airlines have delivered PPEs, personal protective equipments, and medical kits to 54 African countries in just 6 days. A donation made by Jackma Foundation. And for the second time as well, we have also delivered medical kits to 54 African countries and help all African governments in the continent to fight against their common enemy, this global pandemic. So Ethiopian Airlines is not only an aviation company, for-profit an aviation company, but it is a Pan-African company which is playing a very vital role in the fight against this COVID and in integrating African economies, in creating connectivity. Because when I have heard some of my colleagues discussing about business between Canada and Nigeria. The very equation the very issue of one element is there, connectivity. Without connectivity, we cannot discuss about any business. We cannot discuss about any opportunities between the two countries or between the continent of Africa and in Canada as well. So we have started flying to Nigeria in the 1960s. We have been in that market for the past almost 6 decades. We are flying to Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, Port Harcourt, Kano, and we used to fly to Kaduna, but now we have ceased our operation to Kaduna. So Nigeria, as I have told you, has been the biggest market for Ethiopian Airlines, not only the biggest, but the strategic market for Ethiopian Airlines. So when we say 21st century is an African century, there are some elements that I wanted to share with you today. 1.3 billion young populations are in Africa. These people are ready to produce. So the second fastest growing continent. So when you combine China, Mexico, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, India, United States, and Japan, when you put together these all countries, they are all in Africa. Africa has a massive potential. And of course, Nigeria is also one of the countries that you mentioned when you talk about these opportunities. We have a huge landmass. We have GDP growth of 6% in the next decade. We are expecting to grow 6% in GDP. There are 2 economic crises which the world economists are expecting to face the world. The 2 F's, one is food and the second one is fuel. You can find those 2 scarce resources abundantly in Africa. GDP 2.3, we are anticipating to grow by 2020, by the year that we are in, to become 2.6 trillion. And 60% of the world uncultivated and arable land, you can find it in the continent. There is a fast growing middle income society. So you can imagine the potential of the consumer market. There is untapped natural resources, 42% of world gold, 12% of oil, 90% of diamond accumulation, and major destination for foreign direct investment. And to share with you some of the facts that about the company that I represent, Ethiopian Airlines have transported 13.3 million passengers last year. And we have carried close to 500,000 tons of cargo. We are generating 4.2 billion USD unaudited revenue. Current fleet, we have 127 in service and we have 57 aircrafts in order. By the way, the one fact here will surprise you. Ethiopian Airlines, the entire average age of our fleets are only 5 years. We have newer fleets as opposed to the industry average. So we have hubs in Addis Ababa, Lome, our second major hub in West Africa, and the Lilongwe. If you recall, maybe Your Excellency might recall, some couple of years back, in order to travel from Accra to Lagos or in order to travel from Malawi to Benin, either you're supposed to travel via Paris or London. Ethiopian Airlines, because of the initiative that we took to integrate the continent's air connectivity. We have strategized and we have started equity management in various African countries. That's why we have created our second hub in Lome, Askai, and our third hub is Lilongwe in Malawi. We have an excellent and young management team with a combined experience of 425 years. We have 125 international passenger and cargo destinations. This put us the fourth largest carrier in the world. Ethiopian Airlines, based on the countries of service that we are serving currently, we are the number 4th biggest airline in the world. We have close to 18,000 employees. It is 100% owned by Ethiopian government. This is actually a very tricky concept. One New York Times journalist says that a communist, during the communist regime, before the current government, he said that capitalist success in the communist Africa or in the communist country. So this is, it will tell you how Ethiopian Airlines have progressed despite the hurdles posed by the political instabilities in the continent. We have over 2,100 weekly departures, over 300 daily departures. So to share with you some of the things that we were working as far as COVID is concerned, we were delivering PPEs. We have delivered close to 30 million PPEs to Canada, to the province of Ontario, Quebec, and Manitoba. And
some say if you can wrap up, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And repatriating all Nigerians, Canadian Nigerians from Nigeria and to other parts of the world. So if the participants have any question about Ethiopian Airlines, I will be very pleased to answer. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Samson. You're doing a wonderful job, and we're very proud of you. By the way, Samson is going to be sticking around for the Q&A session. So if you have questions for him, feel free to send a question, in the chat. Actually, have questions, just post them there. I know we're supposed to have the mayor of Brampton say a few words, as well as Honorable Ramesh Sanga, but I don't see them yet. So I'd like to ask Kinwale Ade to let me know when.
I'm already in through telephone conference, but I could not join you. Sorry for that. Through the video conference. So I am on telephone. Thank you very much. Thanks for.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks for taking.
Okay, welcome, Honorable Ramesh. So great to have you. And I'd like to thank everyone that's, joining us from Nigeria, from Canada, from the US, from all over the world. We sincerely apologize for some of the technical issues that happened earlier. I know that the team worked tirelessly, but these things do happen. I know that next time, this will be a smooth and flawless, virtual conference. But right now, we're going to go right into the panel discussion, and we have some of the finest legal minds, both in Canada and Nigeria, joining us for this panel discussion. And I'll actually go ahead and read their short bios, introduce them, and then we will start the panel discussion. And as you listen to them, if you have questions, do feel free to post them in the Q&A, and we're actually going to make sure that we address them later on. So, straight to introducing our panelists. The first person is Mr. Shafiu Adamu Yauri, who is the Registrar of Trademarks at the Trademark Registry of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Garki, Abuja. A lawyer by profession, he's currently the head of the Trademark Registry and the chairman of his Trademark Tribunal. His interests in the area of legal research include trademark and law practice, and also IP and economic development, geographical indications, unfair competition laws, and international economic law. He is one of the YIPO academic tutors in the distance learning program where he teaches advanced trademarks, geographical indications, industrial designs, and unfair competitions. Welcome, Mr. Yauri.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us all the way from Nigeria. Now, next is an Honorable Ramesh Sanga. Honorable Ramesh Sanga is a Canadian Member of Parliament representing Brampton Centre. He is a member of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Human Resources, Skills and Social Development and the Status of Persons with Disabilities. In addition, Honorable Sanga is a member of several parliamentary associations, including the Canadian branch of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Canada Africa Parliamentary Association, as well as he is the chair of the Canada-India Parliamentary Franchising Friendship Group, and also he is a lawyer by profession and a very good friend of Nigeria. Welcome, Honorable Sanga.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for taking me in, and thank you for this cozy introduction. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Next is Akinwumi Reju, who is a senior partner at Top Market Attorneys and one of the 3 founding partners. He is the specialist in the law, in the business and real estate area. His specializations span across areas of corporate, commercial, and investment law. He's also into franchise, real estate, business, immigration, and technology law. He holds certifications in different areas of law, including mining law and IP rights. He holds a bachelor degree in law from the University of Benin and is an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Chartered Secretaries, ICS, Canada, and is a member of Merit since 2010. He's a member of both the Nigerian Bar Association and the Law Society of Upper Canada. Welcome, Mr. Reju.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Next is Benjamin A. Crank, who is a senior principal of Crank Associates Corporate Immigration Council and has many years of experience in assisting clients in connection with Canadian immigration and business issues. He is certified by the Law Society of Canada as a specialist in immigration law and is one of the only selected few to be chosen by Who's Who Legal to be a foremost practitioner in the field. Crank is a lecturer for the Immigration Law Practitioners Program at the University of British Columbia. Welcome, Mr. Crank.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as well.
And we also have First Baba Issa, who is popularly known as FBI. First Baba Issa, FBI, is the principal partner of FBI Legal. He has served as a member of the administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and as the Special Advisor, Research and Special Duties to the Chairman of the Special Presidential Panel for the Recovery of Public Property. He graduated from the Faculty of Law, University of Jos, and is called to the Nigerian Bar to practice as advocate and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. He has a certificate in competition law and market economic growth from KOICA Institute in South Korea. FBI is a conference speaker and has written for many publications in Nigeria and internationally. Welcome, First Baba Issa. I think you're on mute. Now let's begin the conversation. The first question is, what are the requirements for Canadians that wish to do business in Nigeria or for Nigerians that wish to do business in Canada? But before we do that, I think it will be actually great to have each one of you to tell us a little bit about your practice. I know we mentioned a lot of that in your bio already. So just briefly, just tell us about yourself. And I'd like to start from you first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice, just 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Patricia, for having me. I was mute initially when you introduced me. Actually, I'm a core litigation lawyer. That's what I do basically. I'm in the general practice. So I go to court. That's what litigation lawyer does. But in Nigeria, we are trained to practice in every area of law. And as we practice, we begin to specialize. So right now, I've been practicing for a couple of years, close to 10 years now. And so I begin to specialize in family law, and I begin to specialize also in property law. But basically, I'm a core litigation lawyer.
Awesome. Benjamin, you're next.
Yes, thank you again. As you mentioned, I practice corporate immigration law, and I've been teaching at the University of British Columbia. And also I am the author of a book called North American Relocation Law, which is the primary textbook in this field, updated regularly. This is certainly what I do all day, every day, assisting people from other parts of the world and assisting businesses with getting their personnel to Canada. And by the way, I do have a brief PowerPoint presentation. When you're ready, I can share that if that's okay. And I'll be happy to share that. And I probably have to get off the call at about 4:30. So whenever you're ready, I can go ahead with that.
Okay. All right. I think we can have that come a little bit later. So next is Mr. Reju.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia. So I am into corporate and commercial law practice, but my company, Top Market Attorneys, we are known here in Canada to be a top immigration, business law, franchise law practice. We also do a lot of other areas of law, talk about family law, for example, real estate. The partners in my law firm have a combined experience of over 90 years practicing in many parts of the world, Nigeria, East Africa, UK, and of course, also here in Canada. We have been involved also in a lot of what the Ncbn does, trying to assist the flow of trade legally between Nigeria and Canada. We've participated in all the Canadian-Nigerian business and investment programs. And we are looking to the future where we are able to help more of a businessman from Nigeria who wants to start businesses in Canada, and vice versa, to also guide business people who also want to go to Nigeria because of the enormous capacity, enormous opportunities that actually exists in the Nigerian space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Sanga. Are you still there, Honorable Sanga? Okay, so we move to Mr.
Parliament.
Are you there?
Hello? I'm there. I'm speaking. Hello?
Yeah, you had.
Yes, yes. Hello?
Yeah,
can you listen to me?
Yourself. Just 1 minute.
Can you listen to me now?
I can hear you.
Yes, I'm a member parliament for Brampton Center. And I was a lawyer practicing earlier. Now I am not practicing. I left my law practice after 35 years and went into politics. And I had a chance to go to Nigeria in my last term. I was there for 10 days and we visited Abuja and Lagos and many other parts of the Nigerian country. We visited the parliament, we visited the National Assembly and many minister offices, deputy speaker and speaker office. And the purpose of this was with the delegation of 15 people, and we were having, we wanted to see that how people to people tie can be increased. We went to Canadian Council and Canadian Consulate gave us best insurance. After that, many changes were brought into the immigration regarding student visa and work visas, tier visa and permanent resident visas. And we wanted to see that it was my desire to see that how as a government we can bring the relationship, trade relationship between Nigeria and Canada. And that's the way I brought up many new adventurous things from there and forward to the government, which was taken into consideration, and later on different ministers went to Nigeria on visit to see that how it can be explored. So my office is in Kennedy Road here in Brampton, 100 Kennedy Road. Phone number is 905-456-9211. Akin Prince is presently working with me. You must be knowing him. He's Nigerian by nationality, not Nigerian. He's actually Canadian from Nigeria. So anytime any services required, anyone who want to talk to me regarding to increase the relationship between Canada and Nigeria, anytime, please contact Akin, and he will be the person who can tell me that how we can bring the changes to better relationship between Canada and Nigeria. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You are doing a great job. It's really a great way to bring everybody together and talk on the issues regarding the relationship between both the countries. And congratulations to you for celebrating today's Nigeria National Diaspora Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Yari?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I don't know why the video is not showing, and also apologies for the challenges. This is at times what you face with technology. It's my pleasure to be with you and to be invited on this forum, and I thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Trademarks, as we all know, is about protection of brands. It is one of the departments under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment in Nigeria. It's located at the Federal Secretariat Area 1 in Gariki. The Trademarks Act in Section 1, subsection 2, provides that the registry maintains a register of what is known as the Trademarks Register, wherein all registered brands are kept for the records. The purpose of keeping the database, one, is to conduct searches for any prospective trademarks applicant in Nigeria. And the second most important function is to have as a record the evidence of such registration of such trademarks in Nigeria. Now, one good example of a registered trademark in Nigeria is the Ethiopian, the airline we have just heard from the representative. The mark Ethiopian has been registered in Nigeria and is protected under the Trademarks Act. So what is a trademark? A trademark is defined in Section 67 of the Trademarks Act as any sign or symbol, name, numeral, letter, or any device, logo that is used to identify or distinguish a product. So any product that is produced by any company is supposed to be protected via a trademark. And the functions of a trademark are four. This important function of a trademark is what gives the trademark its qualification as an intellectual property and forming part of the intellectual property family. One of the main functions of trademark is to identify goods. The identification of a company that produces a particular goods relates to the function of a trademark. So if, for example, a company that produces milk in Canada wants to protect its trademark in Nigeria, it applies for such trademarks through a trademarks attorney or any IP practitioner who is registered and accredited with Trademarks Office in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Yari. Now we're going to go into the panel discussion. I must say that this is a very awesome idea to have an event of this with this topic, because as we know, Nigeria is the second largest trading partner with Canada in sub-Saharan Africa. So I know there are a lot of Canadian businesses who are in Nigeria and vice versa. Now, the first question is, what are the requirements for Canadians that wish to do business in Nigeria and vice versa? And I'd like Mr. Akin, Reju, to answer this question, since he is called to both the Nigerian and Canadian bar. So, Mr. Reju, take it away.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Patricia. Now, I consider myself actually somebody who is in the doorway, right? I'm looking into Nigeria. I'm also looking into Canada. Actually, Nigeria and Canada has very, very similar systems when it comes to company registration. I know that is partly because of the kind of heritage that both countries have. They are both Commonwealth countries. A lot of the regulations and the laws, are derived mostly from the same source as they were. Although both countries have different histories, but you could find a lot of similarities between the countries. Now, I'll take an entrepreneur or a businessman from Nigeria who wants to establish a business in Canada. Now, Canada is a really easy country to start a business in, as long as the requirements are actually met. The first thing that an aspiring businessman has to know is that he needs to do his own due diligence before he decides to make an investment. All right. So there are issues relating to regulations, for example, issues relating to registration requirements. For example, you have to start with what kind of business do I want to do in Canada? There are some businesses that are not allowed for foreigners to actually trade in, and those businesses are within some kind of prohibition list. But for as long as those businesses are not within the prohibition list, the businessman needs to do a little bit of due diligence, look at the environment. For example, consider the province in which he's going to do that business. Now, Canada runs a two type of system of registration. You could register as a provincial business, and you could register as a federal business. If it registers as a federal business, it means that that business name can be used in all parts of the country. It's a little bit more complex, a little bit slightly more expensive than when you register, of course, in the province. But one thing that I will stand out to that businessman is to know basically that for our directors, all the laws in Canada, including the provincial as well as the federal law, will require that a minimum of 1 out of 4 directors, for example, of the company must be a Canadian permanent resident, or it must be a citizen. So if a Nigerian who doesn't have residence in Canada wants to register a business, and he said that he gets a partner who is a resident. Now, even apart from that, in order to be able to work in that business, of course, the person has to go through immigration, because basically he needs some kind of business work permit to be able to work in Canada, at least to be able to work in his own business in Canada. And he could buy a business, or he could start a business from the beginning. Now, let me talk a little bit about establishing a business for a Canadian in Nigeria. For Nigeria, we have just one federal system of registration. For example, if you want to register a limited liability company, we have the registry, the Corporate Affairs Commission, which will register that particular business. Now, what happens for that is that the foreigner needs to choose the area of business that he actually wants to trade in. The good thing is that with the Nigerian Investment Promotion Act, it allows foreigners to own business in Nigeria 100%. So you don't even need a local partner, but of course for business expedience, I would always advise that it's good to have some kind of a local flavor to your business, because it actually helps on the the acceptance generally. But if you're talking about the procedure, you don't really need any other shareholder. You can own it 100%. And usually the registration takes just a matter of a week or two. You have to decide on who owns the shares in the company. You have to decide on a name, and the name, there is a database for Corporate Affairs Commission where they check the name against all the existing names. And secondly, it must not be calculated to deceive the public, in that the name should not be like any other name. Of course, there are some other registrations that you need to do, but the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council actually helps every aspiring businessman, because it's like a one-stop shop for all those requirements. So as long as the investor can go through the NIPC, all the other registration that needs to be done, they can be well guided to go through that.
Wonderful. So what I'm getting is that to register a business in Nigeria, you don't have to, be a Nigerian resident or citizen, but in Canada, some businesses cannot be owned by foreigners. I know in my industry, you cannot own a TV channel that is Canadian if you're not a Canadian citizen. I think, you can have foreigners involved, but they have to be minority. So my question is, how can Nigerian business owners who want to do business in Canada, how would they navigate that in terms of finding someone that they can connect with to maybe own majority shares, to register the business? What kind of collaboration can happen to make this possible?
Okay, yeah, thank you for that question. One of the things that we have found to be very practical for businessmen coming over from Nigeria to Canada is that we need to pair them up with businesses in Canada who have got maybe similar interest, or they have some kind of knowledge or understanding, or maybe they are established already in that business. There are many organizations. Of course, one of them is the Nigerian Canadian Business Network that is actually hosting this. And because of some of the things that we do in my law firm, we actually assist in doing some kind of introductions, especially to the respective businesses in Canada, which we know are on the same sector. For example, I'll take a very, very practical example. Let's say, for example, you are looking to do something like logistics. There are so many government associations in Canada, business-related associations, where those businesses can go actually for information. Some of them are also by the authority of the government. They have a commercial associations where a businessman can actually join in order to get information. Most importantly, it is very, very crucial to do a very good feasibility study, where that a businessman will, of course, collect some kind of information about the particular sector in which that person wants to invest in. At the same time, there are so many organizations, both private and public, that will actually advertise if they are looking for partners. A lot of the time, when you attend workshops, it gives opportunity for people to actually meet and find out in what sectors are crucial to each of the businessmen. And some of these casual meetings or dinner meetings or business meetings actually turn to something that could be, that could actually take a business forward. So there are so many ways in which an aspiring businessman can actually find partners.
Okay, wonderful. Now, Mr. Issa, I would like to ask you, what should a Canadian business owner hoping to do business in Nigeria keep in mind? What are some of the things that they need to know?
Well, Barrister King will have actually covered the field, as we would say. He has actually told us a lot. A few things I would like to add is, number one, if you're coming to do business in Nigeria, you have to know that there are some areas you also can dabble into. For example, after you incorporate your company, you can incorporate the company wholly or in partnership with a Nigerian, as Barrister King may have said. Then after that, you get a business permit. You need to get a business permit. You can get a residence permit first, or you can get a business permit and the residence permit at the same time. But you must first of all incorporate the company, because one of the requirements of getting a business permit is that you're going to submit your certificate of incorporation, which you're going to get after you incorporate the company. And then after that, you for the business permit and the residence permit. Then after that, you are to apply for what we call the quota, the expatriate quota or foreign quota, some people call it like that, because you still need that approval, another layer of approval to be able to work or do business in Nigeria. That regulation is put in place to make sure that foreigners don't come into the country and begin to operate in areas where Nigerian citizens can actually operate in, where Nigerian citizens have the manpower to operate in. We are trying to protect, the country is trying to make laws to protect a situation or prevent a situation where these expatriates will come in and take up jobs that Nigerians are supposed to do normally. Another thing you need to know is that after getting the quota, you also have to get register with the NIPC, then get some other permits depending on the area. Because incorporating the company, getting the quota approval does not exempt you from getting permits. Like for instance, if you want to go into mining, you need to get a permit. Then there's something I need to bring to our attention. It's covered by Section 56 of CAMA. It is not every time that a foreigner comes to the country to do business that a foreigner must incorporate a company. There are exceptions. There are exceptions contained in Section 56 of CAMA that you can come into the country. Maybe you came to the country by invitation to carry out a specific business. Maybe, let's say you are in Canada, you have a construction company, and you are now contracted by the federal government to come on maybe construct roads or stuff like that. So when you come to Nigeria, you don't have to incorporate the company to operate, but you need an exemption from the Federal Executive Council. Like that's like the highest policy making body in the country. You know, it is the Federal Executive Council, made up of the president and the ministers and so on, other persons. So you apply to them and say, okay, I think I actually meet the exemption clause contained in Section 56 of CAMA. So they will exempt you or exempt your company from incorporating as a business entity in Nigeria before carrying on the business. There are a few points that are also, we need to know that basically, if you want to incorporate a company in Nigeria, you need like 10,000 naira to incorporate the company, but that does not apply to foreign-owned companies. If you want to incorporate a company in Nigeria, you need a share capital of not 10,000 naira minimum, but a share capital of 10 million naira minimum. That does not mean that you must bring 10 million naira cash anyway, but that is the requirement in law that foreign-owned companies must be incorporated with 10 million naira share capital. So those are the things that anybody coming to Nigeria to do business must have in mind.
Okay, thank you so much for that insight. Now, Benjamin, international trade leads to international travel. I'm glad we have Ethiopian Airlines here. I know that it is easy for Canadian businesses to, business people to travel to Nigeria, because I know that the Nigerian High Commission has, made it very easy for that to happen. But how easy is it for Nigerians who are trying to come to Canada to be able to get visas or the papers that they need to be able to come to Canada to network with their potential partners?
Yeah, certainly there are many issues, both in terms of just getting a visa and in terms of the right to work or live permanently in Canada. And what I'd like to do, I'm going to share my screen. I have a brief presentation I'll make.
Yes, go ahead.
Give me 1 second. If you can just confirm that you can see the slide on the screen.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about business immigration. When I was invited to this panel, I was told I just have a few minutes, which is like putting an elephant in a dollhouse. It's really hard to limit the amount of time. And also, it is, business immigration issues mean different things to different people. So I tried to have a few broad concepts that I just wanted to cover. One is about how to get to Canada to work temporarily, which is necessary for some businesses, either on behalf of the owner or the employees. And I think someone has there's a static on the line from someone, but you can still hear me.
Yeah. May I ask everyone to just mute themselves if you're not speaking at the moment?
Okay, and secondly, we're going to take a brief look at some permanent residence issues for business immigrants. And finally, just to see what's going on currently with regard to COVID. So in terms of temporary work in Canada, there are, basically the entire scheme is set out on this slide, which is really there's a bullet before this, which is that you can't come to work in Canada unless there's an allowance for that. And the first way to get an allowance is to get something called an LMIA, a labor market impact assessment, which is a way by which the government decides who will, which companies can bring in foreign workers, because we're supposed to hire Canadians in priority. But the law sometimes allows other people to come without LMIAs. There are various categories, such as something called an intra-company transfer, and we'll look at those. And finally, the law allows some people to come for business purposes that don't need a work permit at all, including business visitors, but we'll get into all the details. And I just want to note on top of all that, there are all kinds of compliance issues these days. So the LMIA we mentioned, this is the first possible step in a work permit application. These are the factors that an officer will be looking at. And by the way, this slide presentation can be shared with all the viewers after the fact, but just quickly, these are the factors, but as you see, I've highlighted C and D because these are really the key factors. Either you must show that you are filling a labor shortage, which means that there's no Canadian available to do the job, and that you're paying the appropriate wage, because we don't want to be bringing in cheap labor. So if your company needs to bring in a foreign worker, the first starting point is that if you need an LMIA, those are the factors you need to consider. And to do that, there's a process whereby you have to advertise for a period of time, 4 weeks in various places. There's a $1,000 fee. There's a slight different procedure depending on whether it's considered a high or low wage occupation. And again, it's a very brief summary today, but these are the things to consider in an LMIA. There are some special LMIA programs, such as something called the Global Talent Stream currently in effect, which allows a kind of expedited process for people in IT fields. As you see, we mentioned there, computer information systems managers, computer engineers. There are a number of other categories, but these are the primary ones. And if you fit into one of these categories, you can actually bypass the advertising requirement and get a work and process the LMIA within 2 weeks. So again, the first starting point is you need an LMIA, but if you can find a way to avoid an LMIA, that's going to be very important for you. So one of the primary ways is to have a category called an intra-company transfer. That means that there's a company in Canada that has a foreign affiliate, and the person we want to bring to Canada has been with that company for at least a year, and they have either executive or senior managerial capacity, or they have specialized knowledge. And there are different legal sources for this, such as CUSMA, which is the new version of NAFTA, and others. But really, the one we're going to focus on today for Nigerians is GATS. So in an intercompany transfer, as I mentioned, either you're managerial or you must have specialized knowledge. And specialized knowledge can sometimes be tricky to convince an officer of. You must show that the individual has advanced expertise plus proprietary knowledge. These are actually very complex things, but again, we have a limited amount of time today. And if you're looking at an intracompany transfer, these are temporary work permits. They will be limited for 5 or 7 years respectively. And they're, you increase the amount of time by 2-year increments. But I think very importantly for our viewers today, there is a startup version of this intercompany transfer. That means that if there's a company in Nigeria that wants to establish itself in Canada, it can create a company and transfer senior personnel here to start the new Canadian branch. But I must caution that it's not that easy. Certainly the Canadian government will want to see more evidence that establishment is ongoing, this is a real company, et cetera, et cetera. But it can be done, and we do it from time to time as we are retained for. There are some other non-LMIA categories, as you see here, professionals, which we'll touch on, something called reciprocal benefit, significant benefit, and some others. So for our purposes, the primary agreement we're looking for professionals is called GATS, the General Agreement on Trade and Services. This allows certain professionals to come work in Canada. Yet again, there are many details we can't cover today, but in our experience, we see primarily engineers and senior computer specialists who may be able to get work permits this way, but it's only for 3 months. So you might ask what's the value then? Well, sometimes we bring the people for 3 months and in the background apply for an LMIA so they can kind of convert their work permit to LMIA when the time comes. Something called reciprocal benefit, which means that if there is a company that's sending Canadians abroad or hires Canadians abroad, they might be able to bring workers to Canada. So again, this is a vehicle that might be useful for some businesses. There's actually something called the Francophone Mobility Program, which means that if there's a company in Canada that wants to hire someone outside Quebec, and the applicant speaks French, you're probably going to be able to hire them. They have to be in a NOx 0A or B. That basically means a relatively high level position that requires at least a college education. By college, I don't mean university. I mean more like a diploma level education or higher. And that's another vehicle. So I'm just giving examples of some of the vehicles available to bring people to Canada on work permits. As I mentioned, there's significant benefit, which means that you can use any argument to tell an officer that this person adds value to Canada, but as you can imagine, that's difficult. Sometimes there's an emergency repair allowance, and there are other programs that come and go from time to time. I mentioned one example which allowed for Alberta construction workers, which doesn't exist anymore, so they come and go. So very briefly, we've covered LMIAs, we've covered non-LMIA work permits, and in terms of people who can work in Canada without a work permit at all, there are some general categories such as clergy, some journalists, etc. And the most common thing we hear about is business visitors. And maybe this comes back to your original question, can I come visit, explore, etc. So the answer is sort of yes, but you must convince an officer, as always, that you are coming for a legitimate purpose, that you're not entering the Canadian labor market. And these are some of the examples of the things you might be doing. Buying Canadian goods, training, if that's appropriate, and exploring business opportunities through meetings is certainly legitimate. But don't forget, besides the technical issues, an officer is always reviewing credibility, and sometimes to get those visas is difficult. To be clear though, to be a business visitor, you must continue to be paid abroad, and your main business must remain abroad. So you have to convince an officer that yes, I have a legitimate business back home in Nigeria, I'm going back to that business, I will not overstay my visa, etc. So that was a very quick overview of the temporary work permit system. There's also the permanent residence system. And though I want to focus on the business programs, there are programs that we call the economic class, which sometimes make life easy if you have certain qualifications, usually dealing with education, experience, etc. People talk about express entry. Express entry is really just an umbrella for other categories, and there are provincial similar programs, but under the express entry, the kind of factors we're looking at, again, are kind of dealing with technical issues about language, education, work history, etc. So it's something to consider, but in terms of business programs per se, at a federal level, we have the startup visa, which allows a foreign person to start up a business in Canada as long as they have input from an angel investor or a venture capital fund, as you can see there. So it's not just any old business. You have to convince a Canadian entity that this is viable and there's something worth investing in here. And for some people, there's a self-employed category if they're at in a certain cultural business, authors, artists, athletes, things like that. There are also provincial nominee programs, which are probably the more common way to get business immigration, permanent residence these days. But of course, each province has its own program. There's a link there for general reference. And we don't have time for every province, but I've just put a few examples right here. You usually need some kind of minimum net worth. Let's just call it an average of 500,000, but obviously there are different technical issues. You need to invest a certain amount of money, again, somewhere between 200 and 600. And what you'll usually get if you go down to the second last row is you're gonna get a work permit at first, and you're gonna need to prove yourself that you're actually making that business work. And then you can get your permanent residence. So very briefly, we've covered temporary work permits, we've looked at permanent residence, and let's just take 1 minute to touch on what COVID-19 is doing to us at the moment. So first of all, any optional travel to Canada at the moment is forbidden. The current official date from locations other than the United States is July 31st, but no doubt that will be extended. By the way, a business visit would be optional. It would not be something that is necessary at this point. Certainly, we know tourism and recreation are obvious, but sometimes the business visit is not as obvious. So we all heard, I'm sure, about the quarantine requirements and all this. Just to be clear that this applies to everyone, even if you're a Canadian citizen. If you do get to enter Canada at this point, you need to quarantine for 14 days, have a place to stay, show how you're going to get your food, all this kind of stuff. Certain sectors actually are allowed to come work in Canada, but again, you need to be able to convince an officer. This is a brief listing of those categories. if there are people that need to come work here, obviously besides the technical issue of finding a flight, but in theory, if you can come work on one of these, you can still come. If you're coming from any country other than the US, that's exactly what you need to do. Convince an officer of your, that you're in one of those essential fields. And if you're, now I know this is not really as relevant for the audience today, but just to let you know that if you're coming from the United States, and this does not mean you're an American, this just means that you are physically in the United States and you don't need a visa. So maybe there are Nigerian citizens who are permanent residents in the US, they don't need a visa. They can actually come to work, to get a work permit at the port of entry, just like they could before. There's no, you don't have to show essential service. I think that's misunderstood sometimes, but just so people are aware of that. A few resources I've put for people, and that's basically it. I hope that's been of value to people. And again, I'm welcome sharing of this slideshow, and my contact information is there. And that is my presentation. I will have to get off very shortly, and I thank you again for the opportunity to present.
Well, thank you so much, Benjamin. And I think you've answered all my immigration questions in this presentation. Yeah. So that's awesome, because I'm just, going to go on to other areas. And if you don't mind, could you just maybe paste this link in the chat so those that are interested in accessing this can get it easily? Yeah, it's actually on my local computer. So to link it, I'll have to put it in Dropbox. Okay. Well, you can share with Ncbn, and
yeah, maybe I'll send it. I'll send it.
Share with participants. Yes.
Okay. All thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to speak a little bit about trademark, and I'd like to ask Mr. Yari. We're really, honored to have him here. He's the Registrar of Trademark at the Trademarks Registry of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trademark and Investment in Abuja, Nigeria. Now, my question is, what is needed for a company, a foreign company, to trademark their name or their product in Nigeria? And also, when should people consider trademarking their companies?
Thank you very much again for the opportunity, and thank you very much to the panelists for providing that introductory background on doing business in Nigeria. Now, by virtue of Section 18 of the Trademarks Act, whether you are doing business in Nigeria or you intend to do business in Nigeria, you can register a trademark. Again, you can, if you do not intend to come to Nigeria and establish business, you can still do your business through licensing of a trademark to a Nigerian entity that can do the business in Nigeria. I just want to clear this background from the onset. Another issue that I also want to bring forth is that registration of a company, the business itself, is quite distinct from the registration and protection of trademarks. The business is what establishes whatever you are going to do or undertake as a business, whereas the products that comes forth from a company is what we refer to as a trademark. And like I mentioned earlier, these are signs or symbols that are used to identify or distinguish goods. And the appropriate authority for registration of trademarks, like I mentioned, is the Trademarks Registry. It is one of the offices that have been in existence even before the amalgamation of the country. That means the British colonial system came with the trademarks and established the Trademarks Registry in, I think, 1883. And that means it is one of the oldest offices in Nigeria. And to protect a mark, it has to meet certain criteria for registration. One of it is that it must be a distinctive sign, which means it is not descriptive. It is not describing the product that you want to register. It must meet the provisions of the Act in Section 9, which provide list of items that a mark must meet in order to get registered. Protection of trademarks is for the first period, 7 years, and thereafter for 14 years, and repeatedly for the life of the trademark. Recent, and with the signing of the presidential order on ease of doing business, things have really improved in terms of administration. Fast tracking of processing of applications, regular publication of trademarks journals, issuance of trademark certificates, sitting and hearing and disposal of opposition cases. All this goes to reduce the time period within which applications are processed and certificates are issued. One other thing is that Nigeria has a very good standing relationship with the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. I was a guest of the Canadian Intellectual Property Office last year in March, and we had robust interaction concerning how to improve system of examination and also reducing backlog of registrations in the country. So companies that intend to do business, like my colleagues have mentioned, they need to register either through the Corporate Affairs Commission or through the one-stop shop at the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, or they can license the trademarks for any Nigerian business with, of course, payment of royalty, and that company can use the brand and protect in Nigeria and use it for benefit. I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm ready to answer questions that you may have.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Just stick around for the Q&A. Now, I'd like to find out, what is assurance for Nigerian businesses, who are, plan to do business in Canada? I do know that the Canadian government, through EDC, does provide some sort of insurance for Canadian businesses that are doing business abroad. So if something was to go wrong, they would kind of, be able to help the company recoup whatever losses that they have. So, Mr. Reju, what kind of protection do Nigerians have on this side if something was to go wrong when they're actually pursuing opportunities in Canada?
Yes, thank you very much, Patricia, for that question. Now, the system is so interesting. So that there's a lot of support that the economy will actually give. The very first one, of course, is the right that every business owner or any entrepreneur or investor has, in pursuing their remedies. So, for example, let's talk about disagreements. Any type of disagreement. Usually, one of the most important components of any agreement that is entered by business people in Canada is like an arbitration agreement. So let's say you started a business and you had some kind of dispute with a supplier. The first thing to do is to talk to the person. I know this is something that a lot of businesses do all the time. So in order to alleviate any kind of issues that a businessman will have, the very first thing I will say is talk to the other person. Now, but let's assume that the issue has degenerated. Of course, people will go back into their shells and they will dig out their agreement books. What does our agreement say? It says, okay, we should do some kind of arbitration. So the business people can either go to arbitration, especially if it is an arbitration clause in any kind of agreement that they have had. And arbitration is actually the rave in the world right now. A lot of business people are turning to arbitration instead of litigation. Now, business investors could either do arbitration or mediation. They're a bit similar, but arbitration is closer to a litigation, right? But so if the two parties who have a dispute goes through that and there's no resolution, of course they can always go to court. They can always go to court. Now, but if the two parties, if one of the party is a foreign investor, of course I will assure you that there is no kind of discrimination based on the type of business that person does. I would imagine that most business people will avoid going to court at any cost, because the reason is that litigation takes time, and especially in Canada, litigation is very, very expensive. So you will find that a lot of businessmen will rather give and take in order to put an end to any kind of dispute that they have. Because like I said earlier on, a lot of them will think about the long-term effects of litigation. Litigation can last about 2 to 3 years. The legal costs are a lot, and at the end of the day, you may not actually get what you set out to achieve at the end of the day. But the system has a very robust administrative arm that deals with litigation on business. For example, when the parties go for litigation, they still try and have a department in the courts where they actually do some kind of negotiation. It's only when negotiation fails completely that a litigation will be given the preference. But like I said, for most business people, litigation is almost totally out of it unless there's no way out.
Okay, so there's no opportunity for the government to pay back monies that may be lost, like in the case of Canadians on the Nigerian side.
Okay, so now if we're talking about paying money back, this is a private investment, right? Yes. Okay, insurance now. Okay, good. So if the business is insured, but a lot of insurances don't insure against direct technical or business risk. Okay. Now, the only kind of insurance you can probably get are, for example, insurance against maybe loss of goods, and that is basically between the insurance company and the one who took out the insurance. Of course, the insurance company we ask the business owner to file a claim. When they file a claim, they go through the policy of insurance to find whether or not that claim is within the cover, because there's something in insurance law you call it cover. So if the loss is within the cover, then the insurance company will make an offer to pay the amount that is the insured cost. Of course, as you know, insurance companies also do what they call reinsurance. So that risk is reinsured with another bigger insurance company, such that if in the event of a loss, the insurance company will call on the reinsurance company, and the reinsurance company will pay their portion of that loss, which ultimately comes back to the business owner. But like I said, effectively, this is between the a businessman as well as the insurance company. The government doesn't have anything to do with it directly. Mostly, governments don't give sovereign guarantees for business failures.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying. Now, I don't know if Honorable Sanga is still with us. Are you still with us, sir? I think we've lost him. I had a question here for him. So at this time, I have a few more questions, but I want to give, those joining us the opportunity to ask questions. So I'm just going to read a few questions that have come in here. So this one is saying, is to first Baba Isa is saying, doing business temporarily without business registration means you're not paying taxes or earned income. How do you open bank accounts considering the fact that there will be movement of funds out of Nigeria? So first.
Well, that's certain business, as I said, the law already makes a clear statement about the kind of business or the kind of businesses that have this exception. Now, one of the examples, I don't have all of them by heart, but one of the examples is a business that, let's say the federal government invited the business to come into Nigeria to do a specific thing. So such a business concern has the exception and the exemption of not registering or incorporating a business or a company before the kickoff. So you must first of all look at Section 56 to see whether you actually, fall into the exception of the law. If you fall into the exception, there are all arrangements for you. The Federal Executive Council will give you an exception, a letter or a document to show that you have been exempted. So you can take it to the bank, you can open your bank accounts, you can repatriate your profits, you can be taxed and all of that. But just a very few business concerns that fall into that kind of exception. If not, every other business has to do what? Have to be incorporated first. Then you go through the process of getting a business permit, a residence permit. get to go through the process of getting your team, that's your tax identification number, open your bank account, and do business like every other person in Nigeria does business.
Okay, thank you for that. Now there's okay, I believe this is a comment from Daniel Gouger. He says, how can we encourage an idea called Rep Climb created by Nigerian in the diaspora? He needs 100,000 Nigerians supporting the idea. Here is the link. So Daniel, if you could post this on the chat, then everybody will be able to see it, okay? Now, the next question is saying that I noticed that my learned colleagues failed to mention National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP. This is key for foreign companies' repatriation of their profits. I don't know who can answer this. Just go ahead.
Okay.
I'm not too sure who knows the answer.
Let me just say something about that. Now, the national office basically was set up in order to register technologies. I mean, that was the initial mission of that body. They were to register the kind of technologies that were coming into Nigeria, because that was a critical time in the economic development when the government felt that it was good to be able to have a database or you know, if you like, registration for any kind of technology that is being brought into the country. And of course, the reason is they wanted to ensure that there was technology transfer, you know, technology transfer in order to help the growth of technology in the country. Now, but in the last 10 years or more, the focus of the NOTA, as I read, their focus has changed from you know, just merely registration to something like a promotion, you know, promotion, because now technology is all encompassing, and Nigerian government does not want to be left behind. Of course, it's important for investors in Nigeria, especially those who are in some new kind of business, like for example, biotechnology, you know, clean water energy, then some of the other organizations or companies that are importing technology into Nigeria, to ensure that that technology is actually registered with a NOTA. So thank you, whoever contributed that. That was a good one.
Okay.
I think.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
One point that we want to quickly add, yes, you can repatriate any funding, any revenue that you accrue from the use of a particular technology that you brought into the country. NOTAP must endorse, must agree that there is actual transfer of technology or movement of that technology into the country. And that is the promotion angle my colleague has just mentioned. What is happening in most cases is that people use technology agreements in order to move funds out of the country, and without transferring actually any technology for Nigeria. And it is now part of the responsibility of NOTAP, not only on technology acquisition, but also its promotion and you know, diffusion in the country. So unless NOTAP approves and signs agreeing that actually there has been that technology usage in the country, the Central Bank of Nigeria will not allow you to transfer profits out of the country by use of that technology. I hope this has answered this question.
Yeah, okay, Oluyomi Dada, I hope that has answered your question. You know, but we'll move on to the next one. So, Samson Arenga, are you still with us?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there's a question here for you. Can you explain your connection duration to and fro Lagos from Montreal? And the person is saying that their flying times are long. So, okay, so explain to this person, you know, the duration from Lagos to Lagos.
Let me explain that. Yeah, it's a very important question. Ethiopian Airlines is part of a Star Alliance member. Star Alliance is the biggest and oldest alliance, airline alliances in the world. So because we are a member of Star Alliance, we are one of the biggest partners of Air Canada, which help us to to connect and to capture business from all cities across Canada. So just to address this specific question, there are flights that are departing from Montreal 6 o'clock and arriving in Toronto 7 o'clock. As we know, Ethiopian Airlines is flying out of Toronto directly to Africa, Addis Ababa. So the person who have asked that question can take a flight out of Montreal, 6 o'clock departure with Air Canada, and can come to Toronto and connect our flights directly to Africa. Our flights are departing early in the morning from Toronto Pearson International Airport Terminal 1 at 11 o'clock, arrive in Addis the next day 7 o'clock, and another flight to Lagos or Abuja and all other cities that we are flying to Nigeria. And by midday, which is technically speaking, you will have your first lunch in Canada, the second lunch in Addis Ababa, and you can have your lunch. In Africa. So especially in Nigeria. So midday, 12 o'clock, you are in Lagos or Abuja. So it's very seamless. The connection is not as such very long. It's very short. No, it's not only in Montreal, but from across Canada as well, be it west, be it northwest, and be it in eastern Canadian cities. So the connectivity is very seamless. We are partners with Air Canada because Air Canada is flying to all those domestic cities, and they are feeding us in Toronto. And the reverse is true. When they come back from Africa or from Nigeria to Canada, we will feed Air Canada domestic flights at Toronto so that they can reach their final destination.
Okay, awesome.
And on top of that, I just wanted to make one announcement. For members of Ncbn, we are working with the organizers and the heads of this committee, and I am glad to announce that we will be providing an exclusive offer for all members of Ncbn for passenger traffic and cargo traffic. So the rates will be rolled out. They will be rolling out very soon, and we're going to advise you the promo codes. On top of that, we are working on additional flights out of Montreal. We have already submitted our request to the government of Canada, and we would like to fly out of Montreal as well. That will put us one of the first African airline to connect Quebec with sub-Saharan African countries. Thank you so much.
Great, great. That would be really awesome to fly straight from Montreal to Africa. So we have another question here. It's an immigration question. It says, how can someone without permanent residence who came in as an asylum seeker go into business in Canada? I think Mr. Reggie can answer that.
Yes, thank you. Now, for somebody who's an asylum seeker, he can actually get a work permit now, but we need to understand that the work permit given to people who are refugees or asylum seekers are a special kind of work permit. It does not give them a temporary residence like other people. And then secondly, it's just basically for the purpose of maintaining themselves whilst they wait for their hearing. So usually if you have a work permit to work, it will actually stipulate what you could do. In my opinion, from my reading, you could not start a business whilst you're an asylum seeker because it will obviously violate the terms of that work permit that is given, which is just for the purpose of you maintaining yourself whilst you wait for your hearing.
Okay, all right. And we have another question here for Ethiopian Airlines country manager. So, Mr. Atodo, great to see that you're in the chat. You have joined us. Mr. Atodo is actually one of the officials from the Nigerian High Commission. So he's asking if you're saying that there are normal flights to Nigeria now.
I was actually typing the answer. Okay, glad that I have been asked that question. But currently, with the exception of repatriation flights from Nigeria, we are not conducting any scheduled flights because the Nigerian government have closed the airspace. But once the airspace is opened, we will going to resume our normal operations to all cities in Nigeria that we were flying pre-COVID, or the closure of the Nigerian airspace. Currently, our scheduled flights are not being conducted.
Okay. Now, the next question is from Jude Anue Bunwa, and he's asking, he says, most businesses are not anchored around technology transfer. What are the rules governing repatriation of earned income from general trade or consultancy carried out in Nigeria as a partner in a business? I know that this is a big issue, repatriation of funds, you know, from a business in Nigeria to overseas. So I'd like first Mr. Yari and Akin to tackle this.
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, if you are bringing in any foreign technology, you are first supposed to register that with the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion. And like I mentioned, the purpose for that is to ensure that the proceeds in connection with the foreign technology that you are bringing are interlinked and they are cleared in order for you to repatriate proceeds. But if there is no such connection, and in most cases, you find NOTAP coming with specific proof after due diligence and investigation, and that there was no such connection, the repatriation of funds will be difficult. But as long as you are true to the word and what you are bringing is for the purpose you are bringing and is tied or connected to the business, definitely NOTAP gives approval and central bank allows the repatriation. Thank you.
Okay. First, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I believe that question was answered. Basically, okay. The NIPC Act guarantees that you can repatriate profit, of course, subject to a proper registration and approval by the CBN. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we're only able to take 2 more questions due to time constraint. And the next one is saying is from Adediji Hezekiah, and it says, we're a mining company in Nigeria. We need a buyer from Canada. We are into industrial minerals, metals and non-metals, Elysium Mineral Company Limited. He put his address and phone number and everything there. So, Mr. Dediji, I would suggest that you post this in the chat because the questions are coming to us as a panelist. So, post this in the chat so everyone can see. Now, what advice do you have for Mr. Hezekiah, who is looking for a buyer from Canada? Mr. Raju?
Yes. Okay. So, sorry, I was muted here. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So basically, there are a lot of associations that are mining friendly. As you know, one of the basic strategies of Canada in going to Nigeria on business includes mining, and at the same time, one of the specific areas for interest in Canadian businesses, also for Nigerians, is mining. Now, like I said earlier on, we do have a lot of associations, you know, either supplies, either talking about technology transfer, you know, either talking about equity participation in Canada. So what I will say is that some of these organizations, you can get them online. We have proudly supported a lot of businesses from Nigeria who wants to have partners here in Canada. And I believe a gentleman can also contact me. I'm going to type my contact. We will actually point them in the right direction.
Okay. All right, that's awesome. So I have another question here. It's for the Nigerian High Commissioner. I doubt that he's still with us, but Your Excellency, are you still there? Okay, I'll just ask the question in case anyone else knows the answer. It says, what is the update on bilateral trade agreement between Canada and Nigeria? Mr. Reggie, do you know about that?
Yes, incidentally, I did attend a presentation where the Canadian Trade Commissioner in Nigeria was actually presenting, and exactly this question was asked him. What he said was that Canada was looking at its own model of the foreign investment protection agreement, and that after that model will have been finalized sometimes early next year, that they were going to come back. But I know that before that, the issue on the end for Nigeria was about Section 12 of the Constitution, where before an international treaty can take place or be ratified by in Nigeria, all the federating units must have to approve it. So you see now that from both ends, there's a bit of delay. So that's the most recent information I have about it.
Okay. So this one is to you again, Barrister Raju, is from Mr. Todo. It says, a Nigerian came into Canada as a visitor prior to the COVID-19 global pandemic and is locked down in Canada at the moment. Now that the Nigerian airspace is closed, the person is unable to return. How do you advise the person to go about extending his or her stay?
Okay, what has been happening is that for some of the clients that we have also assisted in top market attorneys, we have assisted them to actually extend their stay. Incidentally, about a week or two ago, IRCC, that's the Canadian Immigration, actually came out with a directive that will allow those who are on temporary visa to actually have some time to extend their stay. And because of what is happening, because of the COVID restrictions, this is a very good explanation or a reason to actually have a visa extension. Usually they will grant maybe 6 months extension, depending on the circumstances of this particular client. But usually it's good to approach an immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer to assist.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. I sincerely apologize that we cannot take more questions, but if you have more questions, I suggest that you put them in the chat. And I'd like to encourage our panelists to try and take a look and see if you can answer some of the questions. And I'd like to ask the host to keep the event open so that after the event, we can have time to chat in the chat room, maybe have the panelists answer more of the questions that have come in. But for right now, we're going to call on a man who is an international leadership coach, an author, and one of the highly respected individuals here in Canada, my good friend Alex Ihama, to say a few words, after which I'll be calling Mrs. Williams Sajai to speak with us as well. And thank you so much to all the panelists. You guys were so amazing, very insightful and knowledgeable. Thank you, Mr. Yauri. Thank you, Mr. Raju. Thank you, FBI first. And thank you to Honorable Sanga, who is not here.
Thank you very much.
As well as Benjamin Crank. And we hope you'll come back again for another discussion. This was quite insightful. So Alex, welcome. And
thank you very much.
Yes, nice to see you, Patricia. I've been listening. Quite informative. How to do business in Nigeria and how to do business in Canada and all this legality going on. So thanks to all the panel. Quite, believe me, quite informative. Completely set of new information to download to me. Listen, I have a couple, just a few minutes left. And since we're talking about business, I mean, we all see the statistics. Over 10 million businesses have shut down already in North America. Like we're not even saying Nigeria, Ghana, and the others now. So businesses are completely being wiped out. Over 100 million people are out of work. I'm not even talking of the people that are literally dying, but people are dying, not even physically now, but businesses are being shut down. One of the questions I keep getting asked certainly is not, how to do business in Nigeria. They ask me, what are the laws of business in Canada? It's literally, how do we survive? How do you keep the business thriving in troubled times? Well, in turbulent times, these are unprecedented times. Jack Welch has this quotation I love. He said this years ago. He's passed away recently. He said, if you are not the top 3 in your industry, say, what the hell are you doing in there, right? What the hell are you doing in there? That's exactly how he said it. So I took that, I heard that 10 years ago. I took that literally, and I've kept that in my mind. If I'm going into something, it's how do I become the top 3 in that area? So on this precedented time, I'm going to leave you with 3 quick keys. Some of you, I mean, you're all smart, so perhaps you're even doing this already, but let me reinforce it, if you will. We all hear about leadership all the time. I wrote a book on that. The greatest misconception of leadership is to make people believe it's over people. Leadership is first over you. My definition of leadership is quite simple but profound. Leadership is a spirit that can only be ignited by purpose, sustained by passion, and guided by principles. The passion of a lot of people are dying away, and the passion of some people are increasing, because this is the time for leadership to shine. So my first key I'm leaving you with is not just the leadership, but leadership innovation. In leadership innovation, like, we can no longer do things the way we used to. Come up, you'll be amazed. Like, I have standing ticket. I was supposed to fly to so many countries before the virus, but you'll be amazed at different, I don't have time to get into details, but different options of ways of doing business. I'm not even just talking Zoom. What are the top 3, top 5 things you can innovate in this time? Even in law, right? Even in business, even in whatever your business is, what are the top 3? It doesn't have to be a physical innovation. It could be a process innovation. It could be a policy innovation. I'll leave it as that. Leadership innovation is not common. Like, leadership, yes. Innovation, yes. But I want you to merge the two and shatter your industry, because certainly you can. Absolutely, you can. The second one is strategic alliance. You'll be amazed. Like, I'm a consultant. I work with organizations to do this, right? No man is an island. If you think you were standing alone, where Corona has told you, be very careful. In fact, the great book often said, let he who stands stand firm, lest he fall. So strategic alliance is critical. We have built alliances with organizations literally across the world, and partner with them. Even when we're doing an event like this, you should partner with other organizations whose people would benefit from this, and then there will be a cross-pollination. Partnership. Even churches, I tell them all the time, now your people are dwindled away. Partner. If you serve the same God, then go and partner, right? So do take that in business. Strategic alliance. There are 3 to 5 people in your mind, I know, in your mind, that you can make a call first thing Monday morning and say, let's have a virtual tea together, if you will, and discuss of mutual opportunities. Bread and butter goes together, right? Or jam, depending on the one you love. So leadership, innovation, strategic alliance, and the last one, my friend, this one, everybody needs this. Whether you got business or not, is unwavering resilience. This damn Corona, the way it came, is going to go. But before then, you gotta stand firm. You gotta stand strong. Your business don't have to shut down. We just give you some keys that can make you strengthen your business. Here's the truth of the matter. When this is past, when the pandemic is gone, there's going to be a result. Like GCE or WAEC or whatever result you have, there's going to be a result. The result is going to be, who are those that are still standing and why? And the reasons are not going to pass this 3 I just gave you. Leadership innovation, strategic alliance, and unwavering resilience. We're built to last. Write it down. Built to last. Built to last. Never waver in your faith. Never waver in your vision. As long as your purpose is tied to your vision. I tell people, the only business that is generational is the business that is built on purpose. If you build a business on anything but purpose, certainly it cannot stand the winds of time. Thank you so much, King Wale, and my dear friend Patricia. Nice to see you all. Just wanted to pop by and encourage you. Like, I believe that, we can all survive this. Not just God will make us survive it physically, for sure, preserve our life. He promised to do that. But now He's left us to do the work of ensuring our business doesn't die. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Alex, for those very inspiring words. By the way, he is a founder of the School of Greatness, an international school, and he has courses that you can take online from anywhere in the world. So make sure you check him out online and try to attend some of the courses to build your team up. Now, at this time, we're going to be calling on Mrs. Modupe Williams Ajayi to give the vote of thanks. Mrs. Ajayi, if you can turn on your video and speak, that would be awesome. There you are. You're on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
So before, okay, sorry.
A great time together. I really, really appreciate this great time together. I want to so much give thanks to everybody, everyone that has attended this program, this webinar. It's been very insightful and, sensitize us more. I want to thank the High Commissioner. I believe he's probably left. I want to thank all our attorneys. I want to thank all the people from the airliner, our wise man who has spoken to us diligently. I want to thank everybody for giving hearing to this webinar. And most importantly, I was going to say thank you, Mrs. Bao. Certainly, you have a credit to yourself in the world of today. So I want to say, well done, dear sister. I'm proud of you.
Thank you
so much. And I will hand over briefly just to Mr. King. He should be doing this vote of thanks, but I want to appreciate you for honoring my presence here as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ajayi. So wonderful that you were able to join eventually. We missed hearing you at the beginning, but at least we've heard you now. Thank you. Now, King Wale Ade is the chairman of Ncbn, national chairman, and he's been working very hard on this with the team, Mr. Ibrahim and everyone else. So I just want to say congratulations for making this happen. It's not easy to do these things, and I must commend you guys for pulling this off. So, yeah, say a few words.
Well, thank you, everybody, for attending this webinar. It is not done by one person; it's done by a lot of people, including Ibrahim, Patricia. You were wonderful. You were great. Mrs. Ajayi has thanked everybody that participated as a panelist. Today is the Diaspora Day. We figure we have to continue the celebration in Canada. This is the first time we are doing it, and we are the first, from the diaspora that is actually celebrating Diaspora Day. Normally, for the last 15 years, we've always gone to Nigeria every year on this day to celebrate. But with technology and with COVID, this year, they actually started, they did it online. I've been on with the NIDCOM partners since 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was a fantastic event. Even Alex Hiala, spoke there, and I was very proud of him. The keynote speaker was done by Ujiri, which is a Canadian Nigerian. So, I mean, we got recognition from our end. Worldwide, people respect, Canadians, Nigerians and Canadians in particular, and Nigerian worldwide are highly respected everywhere we are. There's no part of this world that you can go to that you will not find a Nigerian, and 99% of them are always successful. So that's what gets me out of bed every morning. I am motivated because I know that I have my Nigerian people, and the goal of basically the Nigerian and Canadian Business Network is to bring everybody together, but for one purpose. What can we do for Nigeria? The idea is not just to come together, and we are not an organization per se, because we are all business people that come together to network, to partner, like, Barrister Reju said, and I think, Barrister Shafiu, also said that, Yari, and first Barrister, I think everybody said that, including the High Commissioner and including, the Director, Tariq Khan, that we have to basically come together. We have to be at the table. I was talking to some people, I said, you know what? Imagine if you have a bunch of guys, talking together. The conversation will drift all over the place. But the moment that you have a lady on that seat, the conversation will definitely change. So we need a seat. When they're talking about Nigerian issue, we have to have a seat on the table. And that's what, and that can only happen when we are organized. If we are not organized, or we don't have a body, that is organized enough and ready to be on the table, then they will always overlook us. So that's the whole purpose of, of the network, is that let us come together, let's do what we do together, but let's have a focus, which is the focus is business and business relationship building, both with Canadians and both with Nigerians. I thank my friend, Barrister Yari. You were here when and when you visited, and we all, spent time together, and we became, brothers. And that, I know I can rely on you, and I know everybody in Canada can rely on you now that they have interacted with you. And FBI, that, I keep on writing. You're a young lawyer that I really admire and appreciate. And please keep, educating us every week or daily, whenever you feel like to do that. Ben is gone, but Ben is a gentleman that Mr. Igino Steve brought to the table, and I really enjoy his presentation. We really thank him for joining us, and we also, of course, my brother, Top Maki, Barrister Akinredu and JB Babalola. You're the best. You are blood. We are together, and that's anything to do with legal. We rely on you, on you and your firm and your team, and that's the whole idea. And Jackson, always say something that, we need to partner with all these, other organizations like the medical, industry, the legal industry, so that we can all have a strong voice. And that's why we say, let us come together and network together. We want business people, we want everybody that is doing anything, to basically be part of this network. And I really thank all of you guys, that have taken the time. I thank the High Commissioner, his presence was great. This is the first time that we're doing the Diaspora Day, and I think, beside the initial technical issue that we have, I think it turned out wonderfully, and I'm very, very proud of you. The executive director of the event is Ibrahim Aruna. I thank you very much for all your diligence and hard work, and I think we did very good. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, KWA. So, don't just rush off. Let's continue, networking in the chat room. It's really been my pleasure, being your moderator. Thanks again, Ncbn, for putting this up. And to everyone that joined us, participated, and do have a wonderful weekend, and God bless. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
everyone.
And yeah, we thank everybody. Is it officially open now?
Yeah, networking is open. Just people can go to the chat room and just.
Oh, okay. Networking. But the participant, we can't see their video. That's the drawback to this. I would have loved to see the participant and have them be able to at least say a few words and all that stuff, But I think we can still network. They can ask questions, and then we can answer questions that is relevant to us. If they, and I'm sure the lawyers are still around. Oh, by the way, the next one is going to be September 5th, and it's going to be about investing in real estate in Nigeria. So please stay tuned. We will give you more information. We have a great team. Akin Oduntong, Irad, all the people that work on the back end. I'm very proud of you guys. Please, I just can't name everything. Mrs. Williams, Patricia, I know we can't name everybody, but yourself. Shegun, the graphics is done by the Professor Shegun Olude, so basically it was Excellent. I really appreciate you. Without you, we couldn't have done it. And we will do better. It can only get better from here.
Yeah.
Uncle Wale, I suggest that somebody from NCBN should answer some of the questions in the chat room. Somebody is asking how to become a member and all kinds of questions. So
we can just, all the information is, it's on the website, www.ncbn.ca. I would love to have you guys because together we can do better, so definitely please get the information there. It's so easy, ncbn.ca. We'd like to have you as one of us, as a member, because we can do, we can do great. Kamal from Montreal, Ayo Baka, all these people, they're working hard at the back end, to make all of us look good. And when we are together and we are ready, there's no door we cannot open, both here and in Canada. I believe that. I'm a very strong believer in that. And like Alex said, without purpose, if you have purpose and commitment, things will get, we can, there's no reason why we cannot have, events that, the Prime Minister or the President will attend. And even if the President of Nigeria is coming today, they will need to engage a body that is ready and that is business-minded, that can, welcome the President of Nigeria here. They will need us if we are well organized. And the same, if Trudeau is going to Nigeria, they will need Nigerian Canadians to go with him. So that's why we need a strong business-focused, entity. We are not taking away from NCA. We love the NCAs because they represent all Nigerians in Canada, including the kids, the new immigrants and all that stuff. But we have to have a small unit that are business focused, that are professional, that we can, that we can say, what, Dr. Kasim, is one of the best, pathologists in Canada, is a member. Dr. A.G. Ahmed is one of the best, forensic psychologists in, Judo Igwemeze is one of the best engineer. We have to have, imagine if we are going to an event and we have that on the table, on the table, and the Prime Minister come to meet and say, who are you, who are you, who are you? And then we all introduce ourselves, we will easily change the image of Nigeria. We don't want the 419 people or the Yahoo people to define us. We have to define ourselves. And that's because we have to start speaking out. We have to start organizing ourselves properly and, and get out there and be part of the community in Canada. It's not just our own nucleus, Nigerian community. No, that's why we call it the Nigerian and Canadian Business Network, because we have to engage the Canadians here and educate them about Nigeria, so that before that's the only way we can entice them to partner with us to go up to Nigeria and develop Nigeria. So we have to do it from here. We cannot just expect them to go to Nigeria, on their own. They don't understand the terrain. We understand it because we go to Nigeria, we come from Nigeria, we speak the language, we can help them more. We can introduce them to like a Barrister Yari, like FBI, if they need any legal, stuff in Nigeria. And vice versa, the Nigerians here, that are retiring now, they are looking for places to come to, and Canada seems to be the destination for them. And if they're retiring and they have the money and they want to invest it, they can talk to Barrister Reggie and Top Maki, crew, and find a way to create jobs, invest in the business, and create employment. That's how they're going to respect us. It's not. It's not like we're getting a job at that they're going to respect us. Look at the Indians, the Chinese. They come in, they create jobs. So when they talk, the government respect them. They listen to them because they are employers. But we are so. Most of us are looking for a job that and if we're not adding value to the economy here, they're not going to listen to us. They're going to always overlook us. If we want to have power, real power is economic power. We have to, basically organize ourselves, better. We have to encourage ourselves because it's so lonely to be in business. We know that. And that's why we need to basically come together and support each other and be the foundation for each other, because when it's down, when the chips are down, we have to be able to lift each other up. And people always say it's lonely at the top. Why is it lonely? Because your employee cannot come to you, but your colleague, your network, people can advise you. You can bounce ideas on them. So that's why the network is very important, and we need more people to join us.
And I just quickly add that to what King Wale has said in terms of the membership. So if you want to send an email, go to the website and send an email. We also have a Facebook page. If you go on the Facebook, you're going to see us there. And feel free to join the Facebook page. We can also use that to interact. We also have the Telegram. The Telegram page can take over 260,000 people. So we can accommodate most of you. So everybody can be on the Telegram. So try to join us. Send us email if you want to be part of the those groups. You'll be added to that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think we should. I think PBM. Did we lose you?
She's tied.
Okay.
She's been there since morning. Yeah.
I think we should basically, close this. I
Wrap
know
up,
that
yeah.
because it's unfair to the people, the participants, they cannot join in. There will be other sessions. We'll have some open discussion at some point. But this is the beginning of the Bridge Builder series, and the whole idea of is that, if you have, they said if you feed somebody, give somebody a fish, you feed them for 1 day. But if you teach them how to fish, you feed them forever. So it's the same thing. If you cross a bridge by yourself and you carry somebody across, you only carry one person. But if you go there and you build a bridge, then millions of people will follow. That follows you will have an easier time. Easier to go. Through the river and that's basically the whole idea of the network. Let us become a bridge builder. Let all of us become a bridge builder. That's basically the passion for me, as far as the network is concerned, and I think that we can all do it. And the more of us, that are talking and preaching, the understanding of it and answering questions, the easier it is, for everybody. I hope I'm not talking too much,
honestly, you are already a bridge builder, King Wale. I cannot forget your hospitality while I was in Ottawa. You became my unofficial tour guide and a brother, and that is what it is. I still tell my people in the office how kind and hospitable you have been. Let me seize this opportunity to say thank you. And also to Mr. Atodo and Mrs. Aminata of the Nigerian High Commission. They were really very great, and I drop my heart. And thank you very much for the efforts that you are putting out there. Well done. Thank you all.
Thank you, Barry Fayari. You're a brother now. We've gone past through the friendship part of it. We are family now. And yes, I also want to thank the High Commission as a whole, and the leadership of the Ambassador, Ashekong. I think we are going to another phase now. We didn't even have time to congratulate him on the extension of his tenure. So I guess it's going to be one of the longest serving ambassador here after the next 3 years extension that he has. And we'd like to work with him, in partnership, with the office of the minister, Joseph Atodo, and also, in partnership with every organization, Leadership and Governance Canada, every association that are there, that Sam Adewale is a good friend. He's a brother of mine, and then we have Dr. Adewale now, talking. Starting a women focus group. which I know is going to do great, and we're there to support them. So anybody that is doing stuff, you know, it should be a proud member of the network, and we have to support each other. There's no other way.
All right, so let's wrap up.
Director, you're great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. You did a very good job.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Good night, everyone.
Have a good day. Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.